that? A grasshopper the size of a thumb. Ants are clinging to its legs. Total chaos. But can a tiny ant colony truly bring down something this powerful? No? To understand that, we need to go back 7 days. The day before it all began, finding the right ant colony was harder than I expected. The first one I found was alive and active, but small. Really small. Maybe only a few dozen workers, not an army, not what I needed for a real battle. I marked that spot and kept searching. The second colony was completely different. The right type. They looked genuinely intimidating. I was watching them thinking, yes, this is the one. Then one of them stung me, right on the hand, no warning at all. So I went back to the first colony. Not because they were impressive. They were not impressive at all. But sometimes you don't choose the best option. I chose the first colony because they wouldn't attack me before the experiment even started. First and foremost, they needed a home. First, I laid down a sand base. Then came the decorations. Plants, small structures, to give them space to move and hide. And to stop them from escaping. Ants will absolutely find a gap if you leave one. The setup took longer than expected. But when it was done, it looked like a real arena. A worthy stage for what was about to come. The ants moved in immediately. First meal, sugar water. Simple. I wanted to see how fast they'd adapt to a completely new environment. They were settling in. Calm, comfortable. They had no idea what was waiting ahead. Day 2. First challenge, a bee. The ants had the numbers, but the bee had thick armor and a much bigger body than the ants. The moment the bee hit the sand, the ants didn't hesitate. Workers rushed in, bit, then pulled back, bit, then pulled back again. They couldn't commit. The bee, though just a carcass, was untouched. In the end, the ants couldn't do anything against that thick armor. The ants had lost. This colony had fighting spirit, but no tactics yet. Next up, a cricket. And this time, the prey was completely different. The ants moved in faster, attacking from more angles, because crickets are their favorite food, a rare treat. It was over in a fraction of the time compared to before. Something had clearly changed. Maybe the bee had taught them something. Or maybe they were just hungry. Then things got chaotic. A few workers discovered a gap in the enclosure, and they used it. Workers outside the enclosure were spreading fast. I had about 30 seconds before this became a full escape. I sealed the gap and got most of them back inside. But for a moment, I genuinely didn't know if I still had an ant colony at all. A beetle? This was a walking tank, a real one. The ants attacked immediately, and the beetle didn't even flinch. It just pushed its head straight down into the sand, sealing itself shut, and waited. Every bite, every sting, every pull, absorbed by that shell. The ants had no angle of attack, no breakthrough point. Workers kept coming, kept trying, and the beetle just sat there, completely unbothered, like it had done this 1,000 times before. Eventually, the ants gave up and walked away. The beetle slowly lifted its head from the sand, looked around, then went back to doing nothing. Day 3. That was the hardest moment of the entire week. Not because the ants lost, but because they never even came close to winning. If they couldn't break through a beetle, that didn't even bother to look at them. What would happen when something actually decided to fight back? The grasshopper was dropped into the ant enclosure, and for half a second, everything froze. What just happened? Someone tell me. This thing was massive compared to everything that came before it. Long legs, powerful body. It surveyed the arena slowly, like it wasn't even concerned. Like the outcome had already been decided before it started. The ants charged, and the grasshopper kicked. Hard, launching workers across the sand. Then it jumped, escaping the ants' reach entirely. Again, the ants were chasing it more than fighting it. Every time they got close, it was already gone. These ants had never faced something that could lead the fight whenever it wanted. Wait, 2 ants are hanging on to the green giant's antennae. More workers flooded in from every corner of the enclosure. The grasshopper was jumping less now, not because it wanted to, but because ants were waiting everywhere it landed. The numbers were starting to actually matter. It was burning more energy escaping than resting. Look under the grasshopper's abdomen, then the legs. The grasshopper is trying to jump, but too many are holding on. The colony is confused. Where did the prey go? Look, still 2 dangerous positions. The ants won't let go. The grasshopper's greatest weapon is slowly being taken away. Now, the ants completely control the space. The grasshopper is on its side, legs still moving, but it's clearly running out of energy. Ants cover every surface of its body, working methodically. No panic, no wasted effort. It's still fighting. You can see the effort in every muscle twitch, but the battle is shrinking. This is the last light, isn't it? The ants are not rushing. They don't need to. They've claimed the space, claimed the ground, won the battle. The grasshopper is just still moving, for now. But it will stop. The movements are fading, 1 leg at a time. The kicks stop completely. The grasshopper had dominated the opening minutes of this fight. It had launched ants across the sand, leaped clear off the battlefield, like nothing could touch it, completely dismissing these tiny creatures. The ants approached it with calm, as if the grasshopper had always belonged to them. As if there was never any doubt at all. 7 days ago, too small to consider. Tonight, they had taken down a giant. Never underestimate an ant colony with something to prove. See you in the next video, my friends!